Welcome to Engineering is in Our DNA, a podcast series where we talk about the next in engineering that is powering the future for businesses across the world. Mainframes provide reliable and secure foundations for modern IT infrastructures. In this episode, we bring you a conversation between Jan-Erik Isi, Pedro El Bacudo Machio, and our very own Siva Sriraman. The first in a two-part series, this episode looks at why mainframes are a must for your business strategy today.
Hello everyone, my name is Jan-Erik Isi and I'm a partner and global head of ISG Provider Lens at ISG. And it's my pleasure to be together today with two distinguished authors and leaders in the mainframe space. So first, Siva Sriraman, who is VP and CTO, Modernization Tribe Leader for Industries at Mphasis, as well as Pedro Bacudo Machio, who is a distinguished analyst and author at ISG and is the author of the latest mainframe service and solutions study, which we will publish next month. So it's a pleasure to be with both of you talking about a topic that is so relevant in the market today. And many people don't realize how important mainframe continues to play a role in their application support, as well as in supporting their clients as they move to digital industries, as well as modernizing their applications. So Siva, to begin with you, can you explain modernization and migration in brief, maybe highlighting what are the similarities as well as what are the differences?
Thank you, Jan-Erik and Pedro. Great to be here with the ISG team talking about Mphasis modernization and transformation, and we're glad to be included in your ISG Provider Lens report as a leader. Our focus on migration enables applications to move into a cloud architecture in a lift and shift manner. So you can get what the application's current architecture is, and you don't have to make a lot of changes to its architecture. You can move it from the existing architecture to a cloud environment, whether it be a cloud-ready environment or a cloud-optimized environment, and do it without too many changes to the underlying architecture. And that in its premise is what we offer: applications and infrastructure moved either in a rehosted manner, aka a lift and shift manner, which moves application workloads and any form of data workloads to the cloud-optimized or cloud-ready environment, either in a rehosted data center or to the public or private hybrid cloud. So that's our lens on looking at migration and what we're doing in that space. We also offer a variant of that, but that variant would be more appropriate for a re-platformed situation, which is what we would put in the modernization category. In modernization, what we're looking at is we look at changing some of the underlying architecture of the application and moving it to a cloud-optimized or a cloud-native state, wherein we're looking at re-platforming the underlying architecture, perhaps changing some amount of original code, recompiling it or putting it onto a cloud architecture. Also looking at re-architecting possibly the application, taking the underlying business rules, moving it to a cloud native or a serverless architecture by moving it to that environment. We can also look at completely rebuilding the application from scratch. So we look at really re-platform, re-architect / refactor and rebuild as the modernized journey that a client can undertake. So those were the lenses that we apply for a migration versus a modernization difference. The objective is the same: to help the customers move to that target state, the desired target state, and achieve the benefits. Many benefits, of course, exist once you get to the cloud environment. You can become more agile. You can help your software developers take advantage of modern software engineering practices, modern CI/CD and DevSecOps techniques, achieve scale on demand using the cloud providers. We operate across AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, and IBM infrastructures, Pivotal infrastructures. And we work on various hyperscaler clouds. So therein our differences are in mainly the way we move the applications to the cloud, but the objectives and the client outcomes remain the same: to achieve the benefits of moving to the cloud and taking advantage of all the services and the advantages of moving to the cloud offers for the clients. Also, there's the cost benefit in addition to the agility, scalability, security benefits. A lot of NFR is achieved when you move to the cloud. That's right. What we primarily have from our lens, what we look at modernization versus migration.
I think that's really important, the second part that you mentioned, Siva, about the modernization. So many clients believe their only choice is to migrate to the cloud, and they don't realize that there are so many different options, as you mentioned, the re-architecture, re-platforming. I mean, there are many choices, and that's the advantage of someone having a relationship with Mphasis, is that you've been named a leader in that area multiple years in a row. It is an area of expertise. So Pedro, I'm interested, as you talk to many different clients, advisors here at ISG, as well as other providers, what have you heard as some of the biggest challenges? Why wouldn't someone just do this? What are the things that challenge them, and maybe add on a little bit more to the benefits that Siva mentioned?
Yeah, there are many challenges, or perhaps also a priority question. Should I do that now, or do I have other projects that I need to do first? So in the digital transformation roadmap, a company may have other priorities and say, okay, the mainframe is performing well, is doing what it's supposed to do, so we can wait a little bit. This is one of the challenges, is how to put the mainframe migration in context with the digital transformation and the portfolio, and create a priority or importance of that project. It's also challenging to face the risk. So many CIOs, many CTOs, they think, why should I change it? It's what happens if it doesn't work? And that's because mostly they are thinking with a 20 years old method that was the cloud or the mid-range platforms are not able to perform equally to the mainframe. That reality has changed, and today we have heard many cases from Mphasis, but also from other companies saying, yes, I can have the same performance or better performance in the cloud. So this is one of the aspects that many clients don't realize. It's not an impediment to go there. Second is that you don't need to change the logic. So I think Siva said that a few times in his explanation. The logic doesn't wear out. I mean, the logic stays working. It's delivering business value. You don't need to change the logic. What you need to change is the platform. So that will help you save money and shut down your data center. So the pressure that clients face regarding mainframe is not performance. You can have cost savings if you move out of the mainframe to the cloud, but it's also something that you can wait. What is really pushing companies today is, I have these valuable applications that have valuable data inside our mainframe systems. How can we share that data with the new applications? How we can merge and do analytics that leverage the data that I have on an ERP, that I have on e-commerce, and merge with the mainframe data. So you need to unlock that data from the mainframe. That's one big issue. The other is that I cannot wait 6 months every time the business asks for a change. The business cannot wait 6 months until it happens. And that's a typical time frame for a mainframe COBOL application change. So you need more agility. So it's really data and agility that should put the mainframe modernization in perspective, in context with the digital business transformation.
Fantastic.
You can have great cost savings, but we've learned from talking with clients, because these are large clients, that they have large budgets, and the saving is not the main driver. The main driver is, how can I shut down my data center? How can I be more agile? How can I unleash the data that's sitting inside my mainframes? Those are the drivers. And there are many technology or methods to do that. And remember, you should also always consider automation to do that. So you're not relying on people rethinking the business to write a new application. That's high risk by definition. And you need automated tools that will take the same logic and transform to the new platform and performing equally well. So, and also with automated testing. So you really eliminate the risk by running a lot of tests. So that's what we see in the market. Successful projects, they rely on automation and testing.
Excellent points, Pedro. So, Siva, I think the modernization piece is probably the most intriguing. Migrating to the cloud, we hear about that all the time. What are the strategies that you have available, and how can a company identify the strategy that best meets their business needs?
Thank you, Yanari. So, modernization from our standpoint, we offer a few types of tenets. The core tenets that we apply towards modernizing mainframe applications are that we don't just look at taking the mainframe application as it exists today and try to convert it to a modern state for you. And most companies today may be evolving from their former journeys of modernization, wherein they were trying to get the application out of the mainframe somehow so that they can take advantage of some form of optimized architecture. But we find that the best outcomes are those that allow the application, the underlying knowledge, the body of knowledge that has been embedded in the application over several decades. They're not just moved from the mainframe to the cloud, but there's actually the capabilities of the application are understood, the business capabilities are understood, the applications are able to be decomposed into those business capabilities, into consumable macroservices or microservices architectures to be able to move to the cloud and therefore also take advantage of what the cloud has been designed for. So what we offer as our tenet in modernization is that we focus on business capability modernization, not just moving application code from A to B. Second is we focus on automation wherever possible. Now, Pedro referred to applying automation, in modernization and migration wherever possible. So we offer two lenses, like look at your application, what can be done to accelerate the existing understanding of the application architecture through discovery methods, through analysis methods. Second, how can you extract the business rules? How can you extract the application's underlying logic? Or how can you refactor in such a way that allows you to not keep a mishmash of both the mainframe and the modern architecture existing? That way, when you're ready to move away from the mainframe, you are really ready, and you're still not having pieces of the mainframe that you're still tied to when it comes time to decommission your mainframe application. So looking at automation wherever possible, discovery, analysis, code extraction, code generation, to be able to get to that modern state better. These are some of the various tenets we apply for our own modernization efforts. And the modernization strategies, we, of course, we refer to the 7 R's or, anything that we say. We apply anything that is appropriate for the client in this aspect. So sometimes when we go into a particular client, we find that there is a modern COTS software that has really about 80% of the functionality that the application has been doing. And in this case, we recommend that the client should consider a replace with this modern COTS or SaaS software instead of remaining shackled to the mainframe. Now, there are, our tenets then allow us to think about what can we offer to the client that is best suited for the client's own journey, the transformation journey. And applying any of these 7R strategies, looking at whether you want to be able to do portfolio rationalization, workload optimization, moving to the cloud, refactor, replatform, re-architect, or replace, or rebuild. Anything that you can apply in this state has to be applied with the lens of, is the client going to achieve the best return on investment when they begin this modernization journey? And can we, without disruption, allow them to get to the optimized state through our efforts, through our replatforming or modernization or refactoring strategies? That is our goal as a company, to be able to help our clients in that journey, to be able to move them to that transformed state in the best way possible. We take with the help of various forms of partnerships, ISV partnerships, various forms of accelerators, various forms of intellectual property in this journey, various forms of cost optimizations in this journey. I'll be in the future also in this conversation referring to a self-funded transformation model that we can discuss. It's an interesting option that allows customers to free up a lot of the budgets that they have applied today in case they're not able to fund their transformation journeys. The zero-cost transformation, the self-funded transformation model allows them to look at their entire portfolio and achieve those types of funding releases that they can apply towards transformation journeys. So I think that there's a lot of things that can be done, levers that can be applied, both in forms of technology, in terms of financials, in terms of partnerships. And we are fortunate today to have all those available to our company and through our ecosystems to be able to offer to our clients.
I think the 7 R's sometimes are very overwhelming to clients. They think that they all apply. And I think what you've just pointed out very clearly is they don't all apply to everybody. And where you come in and your experience and working with so many different clients, you can help them cut to the chase and figure out what is their best approach and give them case studies, give them examples of where you've done it before, and give them some comfort level about it is the right step to take forward. So Pedro, I know you were you heard a lot about the 7 R's as you spoke to many different providers. What do you think is very different about that approach today versus how we thought about mainframes in the past?
I think for many years, mainframes were seen as high-performing, high-scale platforms. And one of the things that changed now is the first time we have a cloud infrastructure that is really able to perform more, or it's bigger. Like it's really a supercomputer that you can pay per use. And that reality did not exist in the past. So many times today when companies talk about modernization, they are recalling experiments that were done 20 years ago before the cloud, when we tried to migrate applications to mid-range computers. It was the same architecture. And then today it's a different architecture, it's a different mindset. We say from vertical scaling, which the mainframe is great in doing vertical scaling. You add more processor, you add more memory, and it grows. In the cloud, you have horizontal scaling, which is I replicate the same application multiple times. So I don't need big machines. I need many machines or many virtual machines. And that horizontal scale enables you to go back. So if you need 100 VMs today and tomorrow you need 50, you can go to 100 and go back to 50. And the mainframes, when you add another processor, you never shut it down. So it's only adding. You never go back. Right. The other thing is that changed during the pandemic, when first stage of the pandemic, where many people went from working from home and demand to online services increased dramatically. Mainframe owners or companies figure out that their mainframe can scale, but not in days. So if you want to add more memory, you need to buy the memory. If you want to add more machines, you need to buy those machines. And the purchase cycle are days, if not weeks, if not months. And when you have running in the cloud, it's really minutes that you're talking about. So also the sense of scaling has changed. Also changed the sense of security. So one of the myths is that mainframes are more secure than anything else. They were more secure when they were closed inside a well-protected data center. Right. Now that you are exposing the applications to the cloud and to everybody that's outside your company, the level of security becomes the same. It's true that you can have full encryption in the mainframe, but today you can also have full encryption in the cloud. So the security tools evolved a lot in the last 3 years for cloud, and that perception is no longer valid. So these are the how you see the environment has changed in the last 3 years. Really the big push for modernization is right now because of these changes.
Very good.
So it's really talking about not only connecting the mainframe to the outside world, but it's also the outside world has technology today that can meet the same levels that you have for the mainframe.
Yeah, really great.
And client and system integrators, they can help you assess your reality, your particular need, and be able to say, okay, this application is really good at the mainframe. Perhaps you don't want to move it right now.
Yeah.
But the other thing that happened, And I did benchmarks a lot in my life, in my previous life, right? It's been a long journey. You had this large machine, and then you say, well, this is a small application for, let's say, travel expenses. I'm going to write in COBOL and put a mainframe. Mainframe is not even feel that workload because it's so huge, so large. And then you take another HCM application, you take another application. You take these small applications and start putting in the mainframe. Today, when these providers that we interviewed tell us their case, we say we do the assessment and we find a lot of dead code, which are applications that are running and they have no input and no output, but they're still running because nobody knows that they exist. And you also have this low-value applications running there and say, you can't change that for a package right now, in days, and it's really not hurting you. So the system integrators like Mphasis, they are very good in doing the assessment and saying, this is really complex and big. We will need time to convert and to modernize. These other things, they are really simple, and we can start with that. So you get learning, you learn how to deal with the risk, you test your platform. We learn from your programming behavior or programming practice and programming standards so that we adjust the automation. So there's a long journey for that. But it's really the mindset, vertical versus horizontal, is something that many people don't think is true. So we need to start talking about that.
So for those applications that are analyzed and rationalized, then you can then make a determination of migration. If it's an application that is relatively simpler or does not have that many core processing functionalities, maybe it's a matter of just moving into the cloud as is. Then there are applications that are tightly coupled. Those need to be looked at in much more detail, and the dependence on the underlying core systems, the dependence on the underlying architecture needs to be looked at, and that's a great case for modernization. And also the differences that these applications have lend themselves to be migrated or modernized. Now, it doesn't have to be migrate first and then modernize. It can also be modernize and migrate. It depends on what the client journey is actually all about.
Exactly, or modernized and let it be for some time, as you mentioned previously.